Hello, folks. I'm Jarita Hagans, and I am on the first episode of Dr. Jarita Speaks. And I'm so excited for our first episode to have Dr. Marcus Penn. And we are going to be talking about the self-reform movement. We're going to be talking about meditation and just different types of practices to improve the wellness in your life. Welcome, Dr. Penn.
Thank you, Dr. Jarita. I appreciate you having me kick this off. This is wonderful.
All right, let's jump right into it. What is self-care reform?
Okay, self-care reform, as you can see from the name, it relates to healthcare reform. But first, it's a personal pledge. And the three components of self-care reform are informing the body, empowering the mind, and healing the spirit. So it's a pledge first. Second part, it's also a movement. So folks who have completed and who have agreed to that pledge of self-care reform, again, informing the body, empowering the mind, healing the spirit. That started a movement, and I have on Facebook and also just people that I know. And so later on in the show, I'll share more of the website. And then finally, it's my personal consultancy, Self-Care Reform Wellness. And so I've worked with a number of community-based organizations, medical institutions, even sports institutions, and individual clients to bring self-care reform into their environment. And one of my fun taglines I like to say is bring self-care within healthcare and other environments. So just really bringing that space of personal responsibility and accountability and empowerment into health. So that's self-care reform in a nutshell.
Excellent, excellent. Give some power back to the patient.
Yes, power back to the patient and power back to the people for sure. It's important,
Okay.
health-wise. Mm-hmm.
And then how did you get involved in this movement, or how did this movement come about?
Well, about in 2009, I was asked to give a talk to an African American breast cancer survivor group.
Okay.
And just as I was preparing that talk, it was again around the time healthcare reform was really much more on the forefront, and our president was really working on getting that through Congress and with the through the country. And so the idea had come to me of, particularly in cancer survivorship, it's important, self-care is important, and so there needs to be reform within that area of folks' life. And so self-care reform had come about. I enjoy having fun ways in which to put words together and to relate them to bigger concepts. So self-care reform was born in that concept, and then from there it had started from me teaching yoga classes, so I'm a certified yoga teacher as well, and then it grew into a larger consultancy where I work with clients, individual and group.
Okay, excellent. And what kind of benefits can people expect? Like, what kind of benefits does this kind of practice have for the body and mind?
Mm-hmm. Well, when starting a new wellness practice, or particularly I have some that are meditation practices and greater self-awareness practices, a lot of those together can bring one's body to a calmer state, to a more relaxed state. A lot of times we're in that sustained but lower grade fight or flight response, again, the stress response.
Right.
And a lot of the programs that I have bring the relaxation response. And not too many people recognize that there is a counter response to the stress response. So, it brings blood pressure down, brings a sense of calm, and even some research has shown that it can bring levels of blood sugar down and even cholesterol, again, because I think it all relates to habits that will change when there's a greater sense of self-awareness and calm.
Exactly. I was reading an article in Psychology Today, and they
Mm-hmm.
were talking about how your brain actually changes with meditation, and that
Yes.
it changes the neural pathways, so that the pathway that you have that suddenly makes you have an anxious response, there's a more calm response, and it also changes the pathways to make you think less self-centered and start to have more empathy-like feelings.
No, for sure. And I also recently had given a talk for the AARP, and so retired folks and seniors, and bringing that concept of kind of the buzz term now is neuroplasticity, and that's just what you were talking about. Where the brain can still form new pathways,
Right.
no matter what age you are. And so it debunks the myth that, can't teach an old dog new tricks or old person new ways to live. So we're debunking that. Self-care reform can happen at any age. There can be senior self-care reform. There can be adolescent self-care reform. We're changing those thought processes, and that, in effect, changes behavior and changes neural pathways.
Excellent. Um, and then a lot of people feel like they can't meditate because they feel like they have to be in a certain position or they have to have a mantra or whatever it is. Can you speak on that?
No, good question. And I really like to speak on this because I want to debunk any of the deterrents that may have one not want to meditate. And the main thing about meditation is simply being in a calm space wherever you are and allowing the body to calm down. So that's really the biggest piece. Another myth that meditation is that you have to stop your thoughts and it's about just eliminating all the thoughts that are in your mind. That's not the case. Over time, over a long period of time, you may get to that space of no thought, but in the process, it's really getting to the place of simply watching thoughts and internal thoughts and not being affected by them as much or having reactions. So it's shifting that internal reaction to internal response. Response invokes more of a decision. So you can choose to respond. Reactions, again, are actions, again, that just kind of happen, sometimes instinctual. So a lot of meditation brings down the reactions and allows us to choose our responses in different arenas. And so as it speaks to different positions, most times meditation is done sitting. And there are different ways of simply sitting in a chair with your feet flat on the ground, the spine is tall and the shoulders are softened. Or those who may have a little more flexibility may be able to cross their legs. In yoga, we call that the lotus pose, half lotus or full lotus, again, where the legs are crossed over. And again, there can be meditation with your eyes open or closed. Folks tend to, if they're starting a meditation practice, tend to close their eyes as you eliminate one of the senses to kind of bring that focus inward. And again, changing internal thoughts and shifting how we observe them. And the other thing that is a sometimes challenge for new meditators, and this isn't to deter, sometimes that rush of relaxation that comes within a new meditator is it may have someone go to sleep.
That's
And
me.
so, well, there we go. Case in point. And so the key is that the good thing is that you're allowing yourself to get to that relaxed space. Where the work is to be in a relaxed space and to still be awake and alert. That's what meditation is. Calm, relaxed, awake, and alert. And that again allows you to watch thoughts and to calm the body and to breathe in a calm and relaxed space. So that's a big thing. Another term that I want to introduce, another one of the buzz terms over the last few years is mindfulness. And there's even trainings for mindfulness-based stress reduction. And so a lot of my programs are related to that as well. But I want to share how I like to define mindfulness. And so mindfulness, in my definition, is a non-judgmental observation and acceptance of internal and external environments. I'm going to say that one more time. Again, mindfulness is the non-judgmental acceptance and observation of internal and external environments. And you can see that just being mindful of what's going on, again, not necessarily having reactions, or maybe just observing the internal reactions, and then coming to a place of responding to whatever is going on. That's what mindfulness is, and that's how it relates to meditation.
I'm glad you defined that. Mindfulness sometimes seems like a nebulous term.
Right.
But then it
It,
kind of goes back to that Psychology Today article where they talked about how you can have experiences, and then as you get into meditation more, then you're less likely to assign a negative emotion or a negative meaning to that experience. You just kind of experience it, become aware of it, and move on.
exactly. Exactly. It's sometimes a bit of a paradox or misnomer kind of conflict when you hear the word mindfulness, because then you're like, oh, is my mind to just be full of, you know, things? And then, looks like I'm meditating to clear those things from my mind. So it's a little interesting term, but just hearing the proper definition and its application, I think, is more important, and that's what we're doing here today.
Okay.
Mm.
And then I kind of want to talk about some of the breathing techniques or relaxation techniques that you do. What
Mhm.
exactly is belly-based breathing?
Okay, belly-based breathing. So it comes back to the concept of how I like to define yoga, and where it's conscious breath with movement. And so, in the beginning process of any yoga or any meditation or any movement practice, breath is a huge component. And the reason for that is breath is always what's happening right now. Breath isn't you're not is not in the future. Breath isn't in the past. Breath is always right now. And so, I always start clients with that process. So, belly-based breathing. What I'd like to do, I'm going to move my camera just to tip a little bit more to my belly. So belly-based breathing, hand, is just I like to have either the left or the right hand touching the belly
Okay.
and simply breathing. And so when we breathe here and touch a bit of our belly, we may notice a little movement of our abdomen with our breath. And it may not be as obvious at first, largely because a lot of times a lot of us in the community breathe more shallow and we breathe in our chest. So it's much shorter because we don't have as much space to expand when we're breathing up here. Soling. So when we do our belly breathing, we're using our diaphragm, that muscle that moves our internal organs down and creates more space within our chest and breathing cavity. And so we get to feel that movement by the movement of our belly in and out, in and out. And so here's how we want to notice the belly breathing. So on the inhale, we feel our belly expand into our palm that's touching our belly button. And then on our exhale, we feel the belly go back to the spine. This is actually proper breathing. Inhale, the belly goes out into the palm. Exhale, relaxes back. We're going to do two more of those. Inhale, that belly goes out. Exhale, the belly goes back to the spine. Last one. Inhale, belly is out. And exhaling, the belly back to the spine. Right on. And so that's belly-based breathing. And you may notice that you get to have deeper breaths, and when you draw that air deep down using that diaphragm, you really fill those lungs and expand them out even more. And so that can calm the body again and also calm the mind. Belly breathing.
Excellent. And then I recall reading that you can actually abort an anxiety attack or a panic attack by doing this type of belly-based breathing. Like it's almost impossible to have an anxiety attack while you're
Yes.
taking slow, deep breaths.
There you go. And exactly, that's so perfect. I mean, one of the most immediate examples to do this, again, before a presentation, before, hearing some news that may cause some anxiety, is it brings it back to the breath. Because the breath, you can't be fearful of the breath. The breath has not yet happened yet. The breath is happening. It's not about thinking anything in the past. The breath is now. And that brings, again, that sense of mindfulness. If you can have that non-judgmental observation and acceptance of your breath, that can bring all of your body into the moment right now. And it can start with belly-based breathing.
Okay. And then one of the other practices that you talked about on one of your audio offerings was heart rate breathing.
Yes, yes. And so what that does is, again, it allows us to connect even deeper to our breath, and we move that breath to our heart space. And you recognize our heart space is really important for a lot of mental health. So when we think about mood, if we're not having a good mood, we tend to shrug and kind of close in our center. But if we open up our chest, just doing that fourth bit, you just feel better. You just automatically feel better just doing that. You're smiling. There you go. So all your viewers will know that. So heart-based breathing relates to that. Very similar to our belly-based breathing, but we raise it to our heart so we get to expand just our natural radiance through our heart and our heart space. And folks who are connected to a little more of the energy centers, our body has different energy centers that are called chakras. They have other names too. but in yoga we like to call them chakras. And so there's just a lot of nerve circulation and a lot of energy that flows through our heart space. So there's a heart chakra. And so when we do our heart-based breathing, we're going to activate that and clear out any blockages, because a lot of times we just get it cleared out, get it blocked up from certain emotions, certain experiences and whatnot. So we're going to try and clear that out with heart-based breathing. So we're going to do the same thing we did before. So if the hand that was on the belly, we're just going to slide up to our heart center. And we're going to do the same movement. So on that next inhale, we feel our chest expand out into the palm. Chest goes forward, left, right. And then on our exhale, we gently feel the heart relax back to the spine. Inhale, we feel the heart expand. Exhale, feel it gently relax back to the spine. Inhale, again expanding the heart out. Exhaling, relaxing. Let's do one more together. Inhale, expanding. And exhaling, releasing back. Just returning to our normal breathing, gently releasing our hands back down. And so that's heart-based breathing, you know? And again, it opens the heart, clears out any blockages, a lot of anxiety we carry in our heart. So this opens it out, moves it from our gut, and moves it to open up our heart. Good practices to do. Stress reduction and anxiety reduction. You got it.
Okay. And then now I kind of want to talk about what upcoming projects you might have in the works.
All right. So a really fun partnership that is about to kick off in August, so starting next month.
Okay.
I've partnered, Self-Care Reform Wellness has partnered with the Oakland and Bay Area, East Bay Parks and Rec. And so what I've combined with them, we've combined a program where it brings what I call self-care walks with nature walks. And so the nature walk includes a naturalist, someone who again can speak on birds and marshes, know about certain trees, and knows the geography around. And so I'm combining my self-care walk, which incorporates some of the breathing techniques, some yoga movements, no mat involved, all just in nature, breathing processes, and also some of those mindfulness techniques that increase awareness of nature. So that combination of personal mindfulness and awareness and naturalist instruction and information, we're going to be bringing together for a program on August 16th. And it's going to take place at the Martin Luther King Shoreline Marsh in Oakland. It's close to our Oakland airport. It's going to be right by the observation tower. It'll take place from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. And again, it's just going to be folks from the community coming from all around the San Francisco Bay Area. We're going to do a walk, and in each different stage we're going to do different yoga poses. Again, all family friendly, I think from ages 10 up. And at the same time learning about different birds. We have a lot of bird sanctuaries around the Bay Area, and so specific birds. So the naturalists will share that, and we'll just do a nice little tag team of wellness and natural wonder. So that's a fun project I'm really looking forward to, again, on August 16th. Another good program that is going to be coming up is I've been partnering with an emergency medical service training program that particularly trains men of color. And so I've been brought in to be their self-care coach. And so I meet with them once or twice a month. We're still finishing the contract, where I again bring these self-care techniques of breathing, stress reduction, even certain study techniques. So, having gone through medical school, I can share with them all the techniques that I've had to learn. And one word that's really important is mnemonics. You gotta know how to pair words, find special associations. So I had fun with the previous contract I had with them on that. So again, I teach the men how to find their best way to breathe appropriately, and also to take tests appropriately, and to again have that body awareness, be in that space of pure mindfulness as they're in studying or testing capacity. It's a really good group. So I get to be in a wonderful mentorship capacity, and I share with the men that being in that EMS, that first responder capacity, I give them so much more kudos, because I'm not working in the ER. I chose to go into wellness consultancy as opposed to, within the ER or even in a hospitalist capacity. And so I said for them to handle, again, a lot of stress that's going to be coming to them, I honor them. So I'm like, to give these techniques and share these techniques is really going to help them to be most effective as first responders. So that program is going to start also in August. So we're finishing up the start date. But I have worked with them a number of times with different cohorts that they have. So looking forward to that. And then in September, I'm going to be doing a community yoga class here in Oakland at Mosswood Park. It's going to take place from 2 to 3 in their recreation center. And again, it's just going to be a wonderful opportunity to share these principles, again, of conscious breath with movement with the community. And I'm really excited about that. And I really just see that yoga is a really good practice to, again, build deeper self-awareness, mindful empowerment, and also just spiritual alignment as well. So, and just a tidbit of how I didn't share how yoga came into my life. So again, you and I went to the same medical school, Howard University College of Medicine.
Yay!
And literally the month after we graduated, I was introduced to a yoga class at a Bally's. I was still in DC. And after that first class, I just really felt that endorphin rush, that again, that good feeling of the body after you do either a run or a good workout. And after doing an hour of, again, moving my body in all these interesting named poses, I felt amazingly well immediately. And so I done that again and again and again. And I just knew that there was something special to that. And so, after I had moved back and again, as a self-care reform consultancy had come, it all came from just that experience with yoga and how it really can change person's lives, and it definitely changed my life. So I'm really excited to bring those principles to clients, to groups, and to anyone who's willing to accept, again, that self-care reform pledge.
Okay. So, where can people find you in person, like if they want to get involved in those classes?
hmm For sure. So I am based in the San Francisco, Oakland Bay Area. I live in Oakland, but I can go anywhere. And actually, I can go anywhere in the country. But I'm based in Oakland, California. And if folks want to get in touch with me, they can call my Self-Care Reform Wellness phone number, again, which is 510-730-1727. They can go to the website, which is www.selfcarereform.net. And again, selfcarereform.net. They can find me on Twitter, and again, a handle Self-Care Reform. Actually, no, it's SCR Wellness. And then on Facebook, you can find me there. Again, facebook.com/self-care reform wellness. And then I spoke about the self-care reform movement. And so there's also a self-care reform group aside from the fan page. And so again, that's self-care reform/groups/self-care reform. So either way, if someone just types into the Finder self-care reform, they'll see both of those for Facebook. And yeah, and so they can reach me there. And then just my email address is selfcarereform@gmail.com. So I'd love to work with anyone. I've also very recently connected, and that's how you and I got to connect. I was in Washington, D.C. receiving an award that related to my self-care work. And so it's an organization that has this day that they call Emancipate Yourself from Medical Mental Slavery Day. And so it's all about just personal empowerment in one's health, and where you can look at internal means of healing and having pharmaceutical route be like the last resort if need be. So really, I got to connect with this organization and really got to share how important self-care reform is. And it was a wonderful link of the East Coast and the West Coast. So I'm always open to coming back to Washington, D.C. I still feel it's second home. I mean, a huge part of my life was there as we were in medical school, and love to come back to there or anywhere else in the country.
Okay. And then if a person wants to book you for their group for a workshop or a retreat, what have you, can they find you on your website for those kind of offerings?
Definitely, and they can see some of the different offerings that we have. So again, I had spoken that one of my nature programs is a self-care walk. I also have a program that is very similar to the self-care walk, but also those who may be photographically inclined. So it incorporates, again, meditation, gentle movement, and photography, whether amateur or professional. And I have a specific self-care reform wellness series that incorporates, again, gentle movement. I have 4 chair-based movements. I have 4 core breathing exercises. We share 2 today. And I also have a lot of self-care curriculum, a lot of self-inquiry worksheets that I incorporate for folks who want to have specific coaching in different areas, whether it's physical, whether it's mental, whether it's social, or financial, or even spiritual. There's some curriculum that I have that I can work with folks to help them enhance those self-care areas in their lives. And then there's also a program that I call more of a self-care personal prescription program. And I like to literally flip the script, flip the concept of prescriptions, where people are literally writing prescriptions for their lives. So say someone wants to start up a running regimen, and they could write on a prescription. I actually have a post-it note prescription pad that someone would use and would write, take 1 jog 3 times a week for 1 month. And then that can have refills and refills thereafter. So I can work with clients to develop their own prescription plan, and then again, hopefully to get to that space of a deeper and a greater space of self-care reform.
And I know after this, people are going to be wanting to find out, where can I get more guided meditations? Where can I get more of the belly-based breathing, something to help me? Are there any kind of audio offerings?
Yes, no, thank you for asking. So I do have an audio CD, which I can send to someone, or I can send it as MP3 as well, which incorporates, again, those 4 breathing techniques. There's one called intentional breath, there's the grounding breath, and then the belly and the heart-based breathing. And also there are gentle chair-based movements, 4 core movements that are also given instruction on this audio CD that can be done anywhere, either, again, in any chair, even in your car, obviously not while you're driving, but anywhere, and gentle movements, and all that's on the CD. And folks can just shoot me an email if they desire that. Again, selfcarereform@gmail.com, and the CD is $20. And also, I can send and email someone the guide. There's a video and written instruction guide that gives that instruction, so you can see it as well, and maybe put it up somewhere in someone's office or even in your house, so they can learn those different techniques. Mm-hmm.
Now, are you able to speak about your television project, or is it top secret?
No problem. No, thanks for that. This is another fun, exciting project. It's kind of in the expanded realm of self-care. So this program, and folks can check online. There's this program that's going to be called Alive Again, and folks can check the website aliveagaintv.com. And again, this isn't my website. This is from 2 creators of a television show, and their name are Mark Shepard and Hoa Tong, 2 gentlemen based here in the Bay Area, actually in our South Bay, around San Jose area. And so the show is about people who have died and come back to life. So again, alive again. The key component here is that folks who have literally flatlined, so have medical evidence, and that's where I come in, where I have to review that medical evidence. What has, that we finished our pilot, and so we're in the process of shopping it to different networks. But the overall concept is of inspiration, where folks who again have died and have connected to their concept of God or creator or spirit or whoever or however on the other side had that connection and communication, and then come back. And so we will have folks who will be giving that testimony. And then my part on the show, again, is to review the medical records of the person who had that testimony. And I give their medical testimony. So if someone, again, say their heart flatlined on the surgery table, then I'm saying, the crash team had come in and they were giving, cardioversion on the heart. They were squeezing the heart. They put the pedals on. And so I give that testimony. And what I really am appreciating about this show, and definitely just want to again put the buzz out for folks, is that it has that balance of medicine and spirituality, where there is a point where medicine cannot go. And we
Right.
have, as healthcare professionals, as you and I, as medical doctors, and as other healthcare professionals, we have to recognize that. And this show really emphasizes that. And there's a lot of buzz about near-death experiences, NDEs, or out-of-body experiences. I believe there's a neurosurgeon who recently had a out-of-body experience and had written a book about it. And I think there was another movie out called Heaven is Real, which I think also relates to that too. So there's a lot of, this is definitely the space for a television show like this to come out. And I'm just excited to be on this project. It's been about 2 years thus far in getting the pilot, and there's an Indiegogo campaign that just completed. So yeah, so I appreciate you asking about that. And again, the show is alive again, and that website is aliveagaintv.com. And again, if the viewers and or listeners have or know, so first, if they've had a near-death experience where again they have flatlined and there's medical evidence that can be shown and proven, they can go to that website, aliveagaintv.com, and can submit that information and have a potential to even be on the show as one of the later episodes. So it's exciting. A lot of exciting things coming up for the rest of the year.
Excellent. Excellent. Dr. Marcus Penn, Self
Yes.
Care Reform.
Yes.
So appreciative of you coming on with us today for our first episode of Dr. Jarita Speaks. Thank
Yes.
you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. You can find me on ZionFamilyPractice.com. You can find me on Twitter at Dr. Jarita, and onward. Thank you.
Yes, indeed. Let's keep the health going again. And again, the self-care reform pledge. Let's say it together. Self-care reform pledge is: I am informing my body.
Informing my body,
I am empowering my mind,
empowering my mind,
and I am healing my spirit.
and I'm healing my spirit.
You have committed to the self-care reform pledge. You are donned a self-care reform expert. There we go. Indeed. I appreciate what you got going on, Dr. Jarita, and I just know that you are going to be empowering folks' lives through Dr. Jarita Speaks and all the subsequent guests that you have on. And I like the partnership we have going on in the East and the West Coast. Let's keep the health going, and with wellness in the middle. That's what we got going on. I appreciate you very
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you. And that'll be a wrap.
much. Thanks so much.